If you like the Frankenstein story, you might want to check out Poor Things. It's from Yorgos Lanthimos, who's teaming up once again with Emma Stone. And while the plot may slightly resemble Shelley's monster story, this one certainly chooses a different path. This is the incredible tale and fantastical evolution of Bella Baxter, a young woman brought back to life by the brilliant and unorthodox scientist Dr. Godwin Baxter. Under Baxter's protection, Bella is eager to learn and hungry for the worldliness she is lacking. So Bella runs off with debauched lawyer Duncan Wedderburn on a whirlwind adventure across the continents. So if you're into weird, then this movie could be right up your alley. Emma Stone is the lead as Bella, and I think the physical and dialogue progression we witness from her slowly across the timeline, it is brilliant and mesmerizing. At first, we watch Bella walk and talk in very stilted ways. Her posture is very rigid, almost like she's wearing this full body brace. She kicks her legs out to walk, bends over at the hip with a straight back, and then is very clunky in her movements. And her speech matches her movements. Broken words and phrases that are awkward, and they feel a little bit like when Kevin from The Office decided to use fewer words to save time. I mean, she's still understandable, but the result is childlike sentences, and somehow she's still able to elicit laughs from the stunted, arrested speech. Now, she's not making fun of people. The reasoning behind her behaviors, it is explained, but she delivers her dialogue with perfectly timed wit. And then there's her eyes. Ha! Stone holds so much emotional depth within her gaze. When she's not able to fully communicate in fluid ways, her eyes are her tell, giving us every bit of anger, joy, love, even rage that she's unable to speak. And then amazingly, as the narrative progresses and Bella experiences more on her travels, she displays growth. That's in her speaking, her movements, even her thoughts. The transitions, they're patient and natural, with each milestone coming subtly, but still very earned. Willem Dafoe plays Dr. Godwin Baxter, or as he's cleverly referred to, mainly God. This is expertly woven through the dialogue so that God is praised, loved, revered, hated, really any other emotion. And if Bella feels it or even encounters it, God gets the credit. This is surely going to piss some people off, but I also think that the other content will do that just as well if they're offended by this type of sharp wit. Now, the makeup for God is awesomely crafted. Now, at first, it's horrifying and grotesque, but as we got to know the character, the guttural reaction to his appearance, it disappeared, and I only began to see the inner quality of his character. And Defoe is amazing here. He's simultaneously cold and calculated, just a true man of science, while also possessing deep concern for Bella. I mean, he keeps her at a distance some of the time so as not to interfere with his study of her, but there are soft moments that are shared between the two that move well past scientist and subject and enter into father-daughter territory. Now, when Mark Ruffalo enters the story, he chews through the scenes with this level of absurdity and hubris that makes him captivating, but also detestable. I mean, we can instantly see his heart and know that he's rotten to the core, but his outward persona does an excellent job of masking his faults for quite a while. Ruffalo sometimes has trouble with his accent, but it didn't really bother me much. It just added to the feeling that something wasn't totally there with the guy and that he could turn into bad news. Now, the character progression I think is hilarious as he moves almost in the complete opposite direction as Bella. His decline matches her incline, and they work perfectly together. Now, something that Ruffalo is a master at is being able to look perplexed or bewildered at the same time that he's raging with emotion. The looks and the body contortions he makes exude what words can't, translating perfectly to us. Now, from a visual standpoint, this is a very artistically crafted presentation. The sets are lavish and deeply saturated with color. Well, okay, at least in the second half of the movie. In the first half, it's all shot in black and white. I mean, still with exquisite set designs and costumes. But then when Bella starts on her journey, the world opens up and we see things in full color. And during this time, some of the miniatures that are used for the sets look like they could have come directly from Wes Anderson's nightmares. I mean, they're stunning and quirky and highly creative. There are also a few creature designs that are funny to see, and they fit perfectly within God's research proclivities. Now, the story, it does take quite a while to tell. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes, and before we get to the final act, I was feeling the length. Now, I wasn't bored, but portions of sequences began to feel less than effective, choosing to play something out really just longer than it needed to, just to execute the meaning. And the final act introduces a brand new character. And when this happened, I squirmed in my seat because this did not feel like the time to bring on new cast members. I gotta say though, even though this added extra time and I noticed how long I'd been watching the movie, the final act is necessary to deliver the poignant and touching resolution. I think the story as a whole is easy to understand despite the artsy presentation. And the content, it can be shocking or challenging, but the storyline, it's accessible and digestible. A large narrative arc focuses on a character's hairy business and how that helps to get in touch with the world and life in brand new ways. Now, if you don't like sex and nudity in films, you're going to want to skip this one just altogether because that is a central theme that courses through the movie. Some is gratuitous, but at the same time, these illustrate how someone claims autonomy over their own body, regardless of how others may view or feel about it. And that empowerment, it's wonderful to see. Unfortunately, because it's massively relevant for today, at least for women within the US. But also, don't get the idea that this is preachy or overly doling out a message. It's just observable within the story if you choose to pay attention. This was a strange movie, and it won't be for a lot of people. The artsy component of the filming style takes some getting used to because most of this is filmed with what looks to be a wide angle fisheye lens, so that there is massive curvature towards the sides of the frame. It bends the characters and the settings, but it was also used consistently, so it didn't come across as gimmicky. It was just a stylistic choice that complemented the oddity of the storyline. There are also a lot of peephole shots where we only get a small circle of visible screen while the rest is blacked out. It's kind of like somebody's viewing portions of the story through a scope. It's great for creating extreme focal points, but at first it was pretty distracting. And I love the long takes that we get, showing us unbroken scenes to create cohesive and immersive movement. Sometimes in these, the camera would pan quickly. It was visually strange, but it wasn't off putting. So overall, Poor Things is a magnificent story of self-discovery and confidence. Emma Stone delivers her greatest performance to date, with Willem Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo contributing riveting portrayals that complement Stone. The narrative feels long, with extended sequences overstaying their welcome, but the themes and character growth we're shown are tragic, beautiful, and marvelously gripping. You'll be blown away by the beauty of the visuals, but even more entranced by the magnetism of Stone. If you love beautiful films with stellar performances and a strong story, while also not minding some tediousness, give Poor Things a go. There's a ton of sex and nudity, a lot of profanity, and a bunch of gore with some violence. I give Poor Things 4 out of 5 couches. So what's your favorite Emma Stone performance? Now, she's done a bunch of great ones, so I know it could be hard to choose. Let me know though in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.